I'm here in the Ballydermot bog group area in northwest Kildare and East Offaly. I'm looking at some of the bogs, and here I'm outside the Irish Peatland Conservation Council Reserve in Lullymore West, and we're looking at two donkeys courtesy of My Lovely Horse, an organisation that helps to conserve wildlife. And you can see they're roughing up the sward and creating bare patches, which is actually excellent for rare butterfly species that occur on this reserve, especially the dingy skipper, which loves bare patches and revegetating bare patches. And alongside that reserve, just outside it, there's an area of well-developed wet and humid grassland, and there's fen here too, and there's some beautiful wildflowers in this area. This is really unspoilt. You can see the white, frothy, tall flower. That's meadowsweet, and it actually does smell sweet. You have that marsh thistle there you've just passed. You've got yuncus or rushes. We've got lots of clumps of purple moorgrass, which are characteristic of some wet grasslands and fen conditions. And in here we have some devil's bit scabious, a really important flower. I'll talk to you about that later. And the little blue flower at the base of the shot is self-heal, really nectar rich. And over here is an orchid called marsh hellebrine, and hopefully the camera will focus. The flower is rather architectural, really structural flower. It has a long frilly lip. The orchids have a lip, and if we can get it to focus, you'll see exactly how ornate this flower is. It's really quite stunning. Now it's beginning to focus now, and you can see the long lip and the petals and the sepals. It's a beautiful wildflower, and it's indicative of calcareous conditions, lime-rich conditions. So you're looking at fen vegetation. This plant also occurs in dune flax. You get it on Bull Island in Dublin, for example. So it likes, like a lot of orchids, it likes really clean, unpolluted soils. And looking around here, you can see a coniferous plantation, although really it's really because of the amount of birch and willow that's got into that plantation, it's really mixed deciduous woodland. And down here, mixed deciduous and coniferous woodland. Down here, lots of devil's bit scabious. You can see bracken there and lots of scrub, a lot of range of conditions. And over here there is a caterpillar, rather unusual looking caterpillar, and this is the caterpillar of the narrow bordered bee hawk moth, and it's a day flying moth. The moth flies mainly in May and June, and you can see the purple horn of the caterpillar there, the tail. And if you get a closer look at it, it's on the devil's bit scabious plant. If you get a closer look at it, you can see just below the white lateral stripe, you'll see the orange spiracles, orange mark spiracles. Spiracles are the caterpillar's breathing holes, and it's a rather nice caterpillar, as you can see. The moth is fascinating, really glassy wings, and the body looks exactly like a bumblebee, so it's a bee mimic. A discouragement from a scourge which discourages birds from predating on it. And you can see it's had a right go at the scabious, and chunks missing from the leaves. And the surrounding area is interesting because it contains a lot of heath. It's drier here than the bit of fen I showed you a couple of minutes ago, that has the marsh hellebrine, and it's a heathy area. And you can see with the scabious, there's a lot of dry, dead grass material and sedge material in it, and that actually helps to warm the plant, to create a nice warm microclimate for rare insects like the narrow-bordered bee hawk moth and the marsh tillery larvae to feed on. They need that warmth to develop. Without that warmth, they won't develop. If the sward, the surrounding vegetation was too green, rather than with that senescent straw-coloured dead material, it would be too cool. So it's really important to have the right ecological conditions, and these conditions are met in the Ballydermot bog group area. They're widely met, but the conditions vary. Here's an area of bare peat, lots of water on it here. So you have a range of conditions, and a lot of species like a mix of conditions. So these little habitat mosaics are excellent. And over here at the edge of a wood, you can see a beautiful male silver wash fritillary, looking magnificent, perched atop a marsh thistle, and it's a tall marsh thistle. It's over 1 meter in height, and this male looks superb. He's just emerged, and that if the sun was shining, you'd see that the orange actually deepens and glows. So it's really a magnificent butterfly, magnificent in flight. It glides, it swoops, it dives. It's really fantastic. It's wonderful to watch. Now, over here, I'm just going to show you the rides here. There's a wide ride at fire break between two blocks of woodland, and the edge is lots of bramble, and the silverwash fritillary breeds in that wood. So plenty of breeding habitat for this special woodland butterfly. Now, it's not just all woodland in the Ballydermot Bog Group area or dry terrestrial habitats, there are wetland habitats too. And here we're looking at some of the wetland areas on offer in this diverse landscape. And you can see the remains of some bog cotton here. And as we move closer to the water's edge, you can see clumps of Cladium moriscus, or great fen sedge, or saw sedge it's often called, and it certainly does saw through your fingers if you're not careful. And you can see some phragmites or reeds. So, and just look at that magnificent sky. I mean, this is really classic Irish sky. It looks so moody. I mean, we're talking about July here, and yet, you know, this is Ireland. And that's Murphy's Wood. And Murphy's Wood is named after a local personality, local family, who had a hunting lodge here, the Murphy family. And William Martin Murphy, who owned this wood, was engaged in a bitter struggle with James Larkin in the 1913 strike and lockout, when he battled Larkin in the Irish Transport and General Workers Union, with terrible consequences for a lot of Dublin's working class. So the area is not just known for its biodiversity, but its links to Irish history and the Irish development of the Irish labour movement. So it's an area steeped in our history and our culture. And there's great peace. Look at the Pacific nature of that water. It's soporific. It's a sleepy atmosphere. It's a stunning place. And you know, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, there's always something on offer here. Now, in winter, it's actually an early spring. It's teeming with bird life. Well, I suppose you hear them more. In the winter, it's a roosting spot for whooper swans, and there's water rail, mute swan, moorhen, and the various warblers that like watery habitats too, and with scrub nearby. So, magnificent place, and really a beautifully diverse landscape with the sky reflected in the water, and it gives it expansiveness and sense of openness and wildness, and this contemplative mood as you're looking at sky and water together. And you've the woodland there in the background too, so beautifully scenic place. And just nearby you have this dark, really black peat, and it's begun to revegetate, and it's recovering. It was completely bare, and it's developing dry heath. And you can see the Calluna vulgaris, the heather, or common heather, which is a great draw for nectar-loving insects. Bees just go crazy for this plant. Honeybee heather, the scent is really redolent of hot August days on the bog. More devil's spit scabious here amongst the heather. Really classic heathland plants. You have wild angelica. Many insects are magnetized to that flower. And you have wild carrot. So you've just a range of species here, all just, it's extremely wild, this landscape, really unspoiled, no chemicals. There's a rowan or mountain ash, and meadow brown just flew past. And here is a Scots pine, and in the background you can see more heath, and just here you see a lovely common corridor bee, busy on common knapweed. And if you look closely, you'll see he's absolutely dusted in pollen. So a great pollinator. Bumblebees are terrific pollinators. They really are. And they carry this pollen dust, the male part of the flower, to other flowers and help to pollinate, and soon goldfinches feed. And you see in the background there the heather and the other flowers. And here now I'm on Butterfly Conservation Ireland's Reserve in Lullybeg. We had a brief look at the reserve at Lullymore, and this again is known for the butterflies. There are 26 butterfly species recorded here, including some rarities like marsh hillary, dark green fritillary, dingy skipper, wall brown, large heath, brimstone, green hairstreak, common blue, small copper, cryptic woodwhite. Oh, it's a magnificent place. And here I'm walking through humid grassland dominated by the meadow sweet and ringlets everywhere. They love this humid, tall, humid, wild grassland. And we're living, unfortunately, in an era where we can no longer take common species like the ringlet for granted anymore. A report by the National Biodiversity Data Centre, just published, covering the period 2008 to 2023, has shown that our common butterflies, like the green veined white, are in massive decline. 82% decline in green veined white between 2008 and 2023. I never would have thought I'd see something like that here. So we have to cherish habitats that hold even our most common insects. So again, we're looking at masses of meadowsweet, angelica, plenty of as yet unopened common knapweed, and just over here I think I am seeing, I think it's heath fragrant orchid. Let's get closer and have a look. And fragrant really is beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Yes, heath fragrant orchid, a lovely plant, nice and tall, really rich carnation scent really. Grey willow, as you can see on the right there, it's quite common here, and grey willow supports around 115 of our larger moth species. Never mind the micro moths. The birch, which you can also see, supports about 100, 112, 109 species of macro moth, larger moth. And you can see there's more orchids here. Heath fragrant orchid, oak grass, wonderful, wonderful habitat. And this little corridor here, butterflies and dragonflies often fly up and down this area. They often use these areas as patrolling areas, or even areas of transport routes really. And mammals do the same. And this area has fabulous mammals. It has pine marten in it, which is not really a common animal in Ireland. It has pine marten, stoat, badger, fox, bank vole as well. I've seen bank voles here. And this little area here is a lek, or display point, for this little creature here. And this is one of our large damselflies. This is the beautiful demoiselle, and it's a male, and he's fluttering his wings in a kind of an exaggerated way to attract the attentions of the female, catch her eye. So he's doing a bit of peacocking. There he is, perched. The camera isn't really great to focus on him, but you can see his metallic blue and his dark wings, and he won't settle for any length of time because he's busy lecking, showing off essentially. And here he goes, and you can see that the exaggerated flapping that he's doing. He's trying to catch a female's attention. He'll alight every now and then, but not for too long. And it's not me he's scared of. He's just busy showing off. And what a beautiful show off he is. That metallic blue is just to die for. And then, deer car in it, just stunning. And these little warm, sheltered areas are great in cooler summers or windy summers, where you get a congregation of insects here. They congregate in these sheltered spots, but there's plenty of shelter in the Ballydermot area. The woodland and scrub is developing well. There's a mosaic between that and the grassland, and really, it's really rich habitat with lots of warm microclimates. So, plenty to see here, even in a moody, wet July like the one we've had in 2024. And I'm back now near where I started, outside the Irish Peatland Conservation Council's Butterfly Reserve in Littlemore, and this is a silverwash trillery female. She's feeding on common knapweed, and she has chevrons and spots rather than spots and bars like the male. But I hope you've enjoyed this clip and everything that Ballydermot has to offer, a magnificent landscape and deserves to be a National Peatlands Park.